Inside this morning's bullying culture, from terrifying boss to allegations of misogyny and six-figure payouts to staff. The cozy world of daytime TV is one of the most overused sentences in showbiz journalism. This Morning has long been one of the most toxic, deceptive, and brutal shows in the industry, but only now are the wheels finally coming off. Reams have been written about Philip Schofield over the past 2 weeks. But this column isn't about him, it's about the behind-the-scenes culture that apparently allows gross misogyny, bullying and favoritism to run riot. For too long, ITV execs have seemingly put their fingers in their ears and enabled this behavior, if not actively facilitated it. Martin Frizzell, This Morning's Supremo, is widely known in industry circles for his bullish, antiquated ways. One former colleague describes him as a relic from a bygone era, all shouting, swearing and un-PC comments. He can be wildly charismatic, but also terrifying. He has long been a staunch and very loyal supporter of the Holly and Phil show. If there are metaphorical bodies buried, one might assume Frizzell knows where. ITV head of daytime Emma Gormley also has questions to answer. Why was Philip's ex-boyfriend moved to loose women once relations cooled? Who was that to protect? On February 1, 2020, I emailed the ITV publicity team, putting to them allegations that This Morning was dubbed Toxic Towers by staff members and that a would-be tribunal for claims of bullying and misogyny was settled out of court. In no uncertain terms, I was told a thorough internal investigation and we are happy these complaints are unfounded. Yet, puzzlingly, I can reveal a six-figure sum was given to the disgruntled employee. The resulting article never saw the light of day. And back in June 2019, I first revealed tensions between Phil and Holly in a bust-up at a Birmingham live event. Although I was well briefed by several people, some famous, some not, both Holly and Phil did their utmost to downplay any tensions. Other journalists have also leveled accusations of unpleasant off-sofa behavior, and been similarly thwarted. On Sunday, Dr. Ranjay, who previously worked on the show, appeared to confirm it all. He said, "Over time I grew increasingly worried about things behind the scenes and how people, including myself, were being treated. It takes more than one person to create a culture. One of my best friends worked at a very senior level on the show a few years ago. She quit within 6 months and cited bullying and sexism in her exit interview. No action was taken. I'd love to repeat a few choice conversations she witnessed. Even Jim Davidson might wince. Two well-known faces tell me they were diagnosed with medical conditions, one mental, one physical, as a result of working on the show. The latter WhatsApped me yesterday saying, 'I still suffer daily with the pain of this condition, but I don't wish to look weak by coming out and discussing it.' Yesterday, Philip loyally defended the program he's worked on for 21 years, adding, 'The thousands of guests over the years, thousands of staff and crew, hundreds of presenters and contributors all know, it is a family of wonderful, talented, kind, hard-working people.' Quick as a flash, Eamon Holmes hit back, retorting, 'Schofield has just put out a delusional statement. The gloves are well and truly off. Naturally, there are hundreds of decent, kind, hard-working, and smart This Morning employees, ones who must be reading about the fallout and be heartbroken. They must also, unfairly, fear for their jobs. It's also important to note that the show and Frizzell and co worked tirelessly during the pandemic and, over the years, have raised invaluable awareness on a plethora of health issues. Quite probably saving lives in the process. But ITV, which proudly launched a mental health in the media campaign in March, cannot now sit back and do nothing. It is duty-bound to investigate both its initial investigation and launch a fresh one. In the meantime, it's business as usual for bullish bosses. This Morning aired yesterday, filled with its usual sunny bonhomie. But for how much longer can this farce continue? An ITV spokesperson said, "As a producer and broadcaster, ITV takes its responsibilities around speaking up seriously. We have robust and established processes in place. The year is 2043. Electric cars are flying, AI robots account for 73% of the UK workforce, and the BBC is no more. And Boris Johnson is facing his 712th investigation for breaking COVID rules. Yup, once again the former PM has been referred to police for allegedly receiving visitors at Checkers during the pandemic. His allies claim the latest smear campaign is a political stitch-up. Whatever the truth, being reminded of the government's near-daily COVID COQ-PS after the event isn't helping anyone. Boris, quite rightly, got his comeuppance. Now can we please all move on? Barbecue season has officially commenced in the Moody household. Barbecue, of course, being euphemistic for all-you-can-eat gluttony masked as a protein-rich meal. I mean, would I ever go into a civilized restaurant and order 1.5 burgers, 3 sausages, a corn on the cob, 2 spicy chicken thighs and a token mouthful of salad, rounded off with a double raspberry magnum, because, sod it, it's summer? No. But a barbecue? Totally socially acceptable to make like Augustus Gloop. For a painfully woke, left-leaning organization, the BBC really does know how to shoot itself in the foot. Radio 1 was refusing to playlist Kylie Minogue's new song, a belter, because she is far, far too old for their youth demographic. Sure, Kylie is 55. But she's a global icon who transcends age, gender, sexuality, and class. I don't know a single gay man under 30 who doesn't worship the hot panty ground she walks on. In contrast, stations including Capital FM are playing the song, Padam Padam. At the same time, this is a corporation single-handedly hell-bent on bringing over younger listeners to Radio 2, and culling DJs over 60. So while people's pronouns must be respected, loose gender-neutral, historical facts reimagined and trigger warnings slapped on, the one thing the BBC doesn't respect is life experience. In an aging society, this is looking increasingly short-sighted. Oh, the horror. Is it just me or is it literally categorically impossible to end an accidental FaceTime call? At the risk of sounding all Piers Morgan-y here, I accidentally sat on my mobile and video called a very famous pop star whose name rhymes with Dobby Dilliams. Yes, yes. I can hear that name drop bell clanging. Upon realizing my error, I frantically scrabbled to shut the thing down. Nothing. It just kept ringing and ringing and ringing, my ever more flushed giant fat face and 7 chins looming on the small screen before me. The more wild-eyed and frantic I got, the louder the ringtone seemed to get. The call was interminable. I must have looked like a veritable stalker. As a side note, I also once FaceTimed my boss from the loo and the exact same thing happened. The shame. My friend sent me a screenshot of a Hinge match she had, with the other person citing their sexuality as allosexual. What? We both Googled and remained none the wiser. So, for the similarly uninitiated, here you go. Allosexual, also known as Z-sexual, refers to people who are not on the asexual spectrum. In other words, it describes someone who regularly experiences sexual attraction to others, but it does not necessarily refer to a sexual identity by itself. Clear as mud.